You're now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the SonicBreakdown.com.
Welcome back to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is D-Ray Brinson, and you know, of course, we got your boy, producer, William West in the building.
Yes, man, it feels good to be here, especially on this podcast. Out of all the podcasts, no, just kidding. All of them are the little babies of ours, and they're all loved the same.
I ain't gonna lie, I feel this does have a nostalgic, reminiscent feel. This podcast. So first, I want to get to the thank yous. We appreciate all the love that all the fans has given us, all the support. We really, really do appreciate it. If I don't say it enough, we appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. Keep rocking with us. We're gonna keep on evolving and growing, and just keep on rocking with us. We're gonna keep on evolving. So let's get straight into the meat of this podcast. This podcast is, in preparation for this podcast, I came to Will with the idea of we pick three, what we say, classic albums or just albums of the past, nothing recent that gives us that nostalgic feel that really brings us back to like our roots of hip hop, like for us individually,
Exactly.
and how it can somewhat relate to how it feels, how hip hop feels today. You know what I'm saying? Like how it carried on, how it lasted, how it preserved itself. Does it still have that same feeling today as it did then? You know, in that aspect. So with no further ado, we're going to get into the three albums. You know,
Put your hands in the air for this one. Put your hands up.
I'm going to be real. I was so juiced in preparation for this because as you can see, check our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all our social media. You can see that in preparation we were playing some of the albums or some of the songs from the albums, and it just got me in a good mood, man. It got me in a good mood.
I got pumped.
So I'll let you go first. Which one do you want? And
Put
this
me
is
on blast
I'm
first.
not, and I'm gonna say for me, I didn't put mine in no rank, no order.
Okay.
It's just I'm gonna just shoot with the three.
And this is how I put my list together, because come on, man. You're telling me to put three of my favorites of all time or just three classics. It's hard to put three classics, but you know what?
Out of all the music we listen to, it's hard.
Out of everything that I love right now, I cherish a lot of different albums to heart, man. Like there's a lot of them out there that have changed my life, that I've listened to, and I've just been astonished from just the artwork that it is, the album. But I did my research, and you know what? I broke it down to three classic albums that I find classic, that made an impact in my life, but at the same time, it's super impactful for the art of rap, the art of hip hop, and the history of it all, and the times too. So I'll start off with the South, man. I'm gonna start off with the South, and I wanna give some little background about this, okay? So when it comes to me, I have family that lived in New Orleans for the longest time, right before Katrina hit, and Katrina, tore things up. People lost their houses, and people had to move out of the South. But up until that time, I had family in New Orleans, and I would always go out to Louisiana, New Orleans. So I always had that South influence. So back in those days, I was listening to, the bass music, the bass movement, the booty music from the Florida, freestyle, you name it. I was in that. That's what I grew up on.
Oh, wow.
So when it came to me being a hip hop fan or a rap fan, it started off with Master P and the whole No Limit family, man. You got to understand, at that time, 96, 97, 98,
Silk the Shocker was my dude and out of No Limit, bro. I ain't gonna fuck. That was the one that I that was the one that I really.
Him. You kind of look alike.
Nah, that was the one that resonated with me, was Silk the Shocker, for real.
Yeah.
But I was with Silk the Shocker, and I'm not gonna lie, Mystical, because Mystical got you hyped,
man. And the album that I chose to kind of symbolize that whole kind of era, because again, it's tough to just break it down to just a one album type of thing, but when I say Master P, I gotta go with Master P, Ghetto Dope. Ghetto D. Classic album. Came out in 1997. During that time, it was the movies were out. I got the hookup
Yep.
came after that. I'm Bout It came out before that,
That
or
man
in that
was
same
hustling.
time. I'm Bout It. No Limit Films. Then it came into being No Limit Gear, No
Yep.
Limit Jeans, No Limit everything. Beanies, shirts. I wanted to always have that tank necklace, just like
Oh
Master
yeah,
P
the
did.
big ass tank.
Make 'em Say came out of this album. But to just overall represent the love of the South that I have, I had to go with Master P Ghetto D, man. A classic body of work. And Master P was into everything, man. He had his hands everywhere. West Coast, South, the East, North, man. So,
He was an innovator, ahead of his time in real aspect as a businessman. Like,
I haven't even got into that. And then, yes, he's a businessman. He had the No Limit Films. He was doing the movies, he was doing the clothes. He was doing the independent rap scene with just his record label in general and everybody that he was putting on. And it was all organic, straight out of the trunk type of stuff, too.
I want to interject real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Is everything you were just saying relates, and quick. I just want to quickly relate it to today, because on the Solange album, he does a lot of the interludes, and he brings up like
Wow.
things from the past, and like one of the things he brought up, because again, that was the first Solange album that I've ever listened to. That shit's good. It's a good album. Like, it's a real good album. Production, the message, lyrics. But anyways, my bad for the getting
It's okay.
sidetracked. But on one of the interludes, he talks about the fact that he talks about the meaning of No Limit, how he came up with it. He talks about the fact that he was offered record deals for like millions and millions, and he's like, he turned them down, and a lot of people from the hood was kind of getting on him about it, saying like, dude, take the money, it's money in hand. Like, even his brother Slim was saying like, fool, what are you doing? Like, we out here struggling, like trying to get, like you said, selling these from the trunks, this and this, and moving, and like doing it the hard way,
Yeah.
when they're gonna help us front to get big fast. And he was like, well, if they offer me $1 million, they must know that I'm worth 40 to 50 million, at the least 10 million.
He turned it down, right?
And he said, yeah, exactly. He said, I'm going to turn that down because I'm going to invest in myself. I'd rather go the long, hard grind and know that I'm going to get my full worth, my full potential, than go the easy route and, in essence, and sell out and lose on that profit, because you're trying to get there quick. He's like, he brought that up, and then he brought up, like I said, about No Limit. Like, he got that kind of from his family because they were in the military.
And aside from what Diddy was already doing, aside from what Jay-Z was already doing at that
Exactly.
time, Dame Dash,
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's not the first
and-
businessman or anything like
Yeah,
that made it, but
Russell
his-
Simmons.
he did it in a different way, and he branched out and diversified extremely quick in comparison to the other two, and in areas that they still haven't branched out into.
The point I wanted to make right there is that was the moment in time where I saw, and also to a lot of people it's known that Master P is the grandfather of that independent rap hustle that we know of now.
With like Joey Badass,
Or things
Mac
that
Miller,
that
Wiz
has spawned
Khalifa,
off of that idea, because that was an original idea right there.
because everybody was just taking the deal.
Yep. E40.
Even Jay-Z took the deal.
E40 on our side was one of the first as well, doing everything pure independent. But Master P to me is like it was like the beginning,
Yeah.
and I learned a lot from that too. As a youngster, I learned a lot from what he was doing too, because I was into the rap scene. I was listening to the music, but at the same time, I was envisioning that same hustle in the music that he was putting in. Because his music, if you go back into his catalog, his music is dark.
Yeah.
His music is dark. It's grimy. It's before what we think what trap is now, in the sound that we are listening to coming out from the South right now. It was really gangster. Like, it was like projects, grimy, you on your last penny and dime type of rap.
And
I loved it.
And he talked about why he used to go all the time. He was like, that was his way of like crying. Like that was saying this is my pain. And he's like, I did it so much because we were in pain because of, like you said, what he was talking about was dark, grimy, difficult struggles, hurdles,
Everything was a
turbulence.
struggle. Every
you know what I'm
album has
saying?
something
Like
related
trying
to
to
that.
trying to navigate the hardships that people have
Yeah.
to navigate through when you're in poor, low income, difficult situations. So, like that to me, that really resonated because I never associated that with pain.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I knew and understood that the songs were dark and dealing with struggle, but I thought it was his way of saying like fuck y'all, like I'm still
Yeah.
gonna do it. See, that's how I interpreted it. Like nigga, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I made it out of all this shit, and I still did it.
At a young age, you can see it that way.
Exactly. And then when I heard him explain it on that, and I was like, that shit makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's crazy that you already interpreted all of that through the pain and stuff at that young age because you interpreted it differently. And that's the great thing about music. Like it hits you how
I'll never forget that.
it hits you in a different way because it resonates with you because of your experiences. You know what I'm saying? So that shit is crazy.
Classic. And then if you want to relate it to now, and people want to listen to it now, it's a classic. It's a classic. You listen to it. If you are a fan of the South, if you are a fan of rap, that's in there. That's in there with along with Scarface.
Ooh.
What Ludacris did with who else? 8Ball and
MJG.
MJG. 3 6 Mafia. So that whole I can take you back because I love the South, man. I love that old school true South, and that kind of just I would say encompasses and represents that whole era, that time, and that region.
Because they have a different just musicality to their beat choices, to their flow, and I'm not just talking about the country swing. I'm talking about that there's just a different musicality that's associated with that. That if you really listen to the music, you'll hear it, and it's just as brilliant as any other region. It's just different. Just like New York has a unique sound as well. Just like the Bay has a unique sound. Just like LA has a unique sound. You know what I'm saying?
And a fun
Texas,
fact,
all that, yeah.
Yeah, and to add to that, a fun fact is that P was actually always representing Richmond. He actually stayed in Richmond.
Exactly, and
So
people
he
didn't
has ties in the Bay Area.
But
And he always gives a shout out to the Bay Area, and he also did the West Coast Bad Boy or West Coast what's it called? Yeah, West Coast Bad Boys compilations. Those were awesome. But moving on to my next album.
oh, you wanna go? You wanna go your three straight? I'll go my three straight. Or you wanna go back and forth?
Actually, you know what? Let's go back and forth.
Because we gotta keep
Yeah.
the audience on pins and needles,
Yeah,
wondering
yeah,
what your
yeah.
next two is because
Yeah.
it can be anywhere after Master P. You know what I'm saying? So
Might
like,
even have to switch it up.
oh,
No, just kidding. Go ahead, man. Do
Nah.
your thing. D-Ray, what's yours?
let me think. I have my three. I'm just trying to figure out which one I just want to just throw out there first.
I'm doing mine in chronological order, so
We I'm shit.
stunned on you right now.
Yeah, like damn.
and alphabetical too. No, just kidding.
Nah, I know
get
what
technical.
I'm gonna keep it in the South. Just because you started out with
You're
the
gonna
South.
match my South?
Yeah, I'm gonna match your South. I'm not gonna match your year. I'm gonna match your South.
It's a card game right now.
Exactly.
I match your South. All right.
I'm gonna go with Aquemini.
Ooh.
And for y'all don't know, Aquemini is Outkast.
Ooh.
Outkast's album.
That is a tough album, man. And I want to add to that. I don't want to just kind of jump on your stuff. But
No, go ahead.
5 mics. Remember The Source? 5 mics. That album got a 5 mic. One of the few albums that's it's ever been given 5 mics. Not too many 5 mics albums out there. And it's considered a classic. But go ahead.
I had to pick it because just for me, let's break it down into components first. For me, the production on it, it goes to my jazz sensibility just because of the fact of the deep usage of the horns, and then it goes and actually I want to start over. I want to start because this album resonates with me for a multitude of reasons, and one of the main reasons it does is because it hit me differently when I first heard it, and then when I re-listened to it again when I moved to Atlanta. Like, because I felt like I gained a different perspective, and I was older to, I think, to really understand and appreciate the qualities of the production. I always understood and understood and appreciated the lyrical component from Big Boy and Andre 3 Stacks, or Andre 3000,
Yeah.
or Andre at that time 2000 was so. Like, so that part I always understood, and that aspect of
That
that
was always
album, yeah, that always was there, because I always was a lyrical guy before production. Even in high school, I used to say, and I'm ashamed I used to say this, is like, I don't care what the production is, I need to hear the lyrics. Even though I didn't mean that in its entirety, because of course the production matters, because a whack beat is a whack beat.
Yeah. And it can easily turn you off.
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta have everything working in sync.
Exactly.
For
So
sure.
I would used to say that, even though that wasn't necessarily the case. But so, like I said, I understood the lyrics, and I understand the depth of the lyrics. I understand the gravity of the lyrics, and that's what also hit with me is the fact that they were bringing to light some of the darker aspects of living in inner cities, living in poor areas, the hustle, the grind, the decisions that you have to make, even while trying to be a good person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to do the right things, but like, you get put in a corner in a situation where it's like, well, shit, what else am I going to do besides, it's either live and do something wrong or die trying to be right. And it's like, everybody want to live, man.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say everybody, but most people,
Yeah.
you know, want to live. So like, I understood that aspect of that album to me, as well as the fact that they still always had hints of joy and hints of and celebration and in it. So it had a nice bell curve, I guess you want to say, peaks and valleys of emotions as well as types of sounds. So that resonated with me. But then, like I said, when I got to college and I started really understanding like bands, not like because I went to a historically black college, so like I'm talking about like bands, like marching bands, like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they really get down and play
Drum
that
roll.
soul. Yeah, like that's what most people will know, but like that type of feel, and like you can really hear the horns and yeah, drumline, not drum roll. That's a sushi dish, by the way. But like I would really understand and hear the horns more in the songs, and understood the levity that they brought to it, and the joy. Like, so that's why that album resonates with me so deeply, and like it will always hold a place in my heart, in my mind, because I can hear it at any time. Like if I put my phone on shuffle and Aquemini comes on, I don't switch that track.
You let it be.
I let it be. I let it go, regardless of how I'm feeling, what mood I'm in.
That's powerful.
I just let it go, especially if I'm driving. Like that album for me, it has a new feeling, because now when I hear it, if I'm driving, it reminds me of driving in Atlanta at night, just riding, like feeling that Georgia air, seeing all the trees, and just like, damn, like it's just a different feel. So it sparks those memories for me. But I'll leave it at that for Outkast, Aquemini. If you don't know, check it out, because that album is worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of that type of sound.
Art of Storytelling.
Woo! Art of Storytelling, part 1 and part 2.
Both of them. Screwed on the Barbie with Raekwon.
Oh.
Aquemini,
The title track, yeah. Like,
Forget
man,
about it.
The whole album is just crazy. Like I said.
Man. 10 thumbs up.
And so like Will said, man, it got 5 mics. It got 2 thumbs up for me. 5 mics, 4 stars out of 4.
Stickers, you get everything.
10 stickers out of 10. Like that's what I give it. So,
Oh man.
like I always say,
Good
I think
choice,
Andre
good
3
choice.
Stacks is underrated and underappreciated. And Andre, I need another album, man. If you listening, I need an album. He's
He's
bro.
in the Himalayas right now,
Bruh, I don't,
meditating.
bro. I don't care what it is. Bro, just give me one more, and I'm out on that one. So I'll let you go now with your number 2.
My number 2 is
Dos.
ironically, it's actually playing in the background right now. So
Ooh.
we'll go straight into it. Right now, we're listening to Big Pun. It's called Tres Leches, song that features Prodigy from Mobb Deep, and also Inspect the Deck from Wu-Tang.
Ooh.
Production by RZA. Scratches on this song by Rock Rada from the Executioner, so R.I.P. to Rock Rada, DJ Rock Rada.
Damn,
But
it just got all stars on every
Man.
layer of that you can have.
so let me set up the picture on this one. So this one is actually one of the biggest albums in my life, in entirety, in my entire life. I hold a lot of love for this album, man. This body of work, and for the person himself. So Big Pun. So Big Pun with his first album, Capital Punishment, came out in 1998. His first album, let me just say, his first album came out with features from, like I just said, Prodigy, Inspect the Deck, productions from RZA, Fat Joe. You also have Busta Rhymes on the track. You also have Wyclef. You have Nori, a.k.a. Noriega. Anybody else? And then the Terror Squad. Everybody from Terror Squad is on there. So
Squad represent.
productions from RZA, the Beatnuts, Juju from the Beatnuts, LES, Nobody, Minnesota, a whole bunch of people. For his first album, this is crazy impressive. Crazy impressive, man. And
Came out swinging.
shoot, like it was, and his first album is like 24 tracks, 25 tracks. Like you can listen to every single track and skit all the way through. But the reason why I'm choosing this album, Big Pun, overall, I would say this is the first album and first artist where I kind of more actually discovered myself as a hip-hop lover and as a Latino.
It brings
So
those two
it
two
brought-
components.
It made me feel comfortable on representing myself being Latino when Pun came out. That's real. That's true.
in
That's
the genre
100%.
that you love.
Because I grew up with a whole bunch of people, whole kinds of people, different kinds, and I grew up with Asian, Filipino friends, all my black friends when I was in sports playing
Samoan,
basketball.
Tongan.
Samoan, Tongan, you name it. So
Guamanian.
I was actually torn when it comes to growing up as a kid, with all these different ethnicities that I was surrounded by, and
Culture identity.
identity in general. And then when you're in that high school phase, you're getting out of middle school, going into high school, that's where the identity kind of bubbles up and it sparks up. And when Pun came out with this album, 1998, I will never forget it. Me and my neighbor, who also put me on to music and DJing and all that stuff, we would play this album front to back on a daily. And again, like I said, I was proud to be Latino, and also I was proud to call myself a hip hop head and being Latino at the same time. Like that was the beginning of it, and ever since then, I haven't looked back. I'm proud to be Latino. All the Spanish rappers out there represent.
That's beautiful, man.
Relating it to now, a lot of people have spawned off of this. Not to mention that he's the first Latin rapper to go platinum, and he says that in his flow. And he says that in his rap. This album went platinum. And to just be out the gate, out of nowhere, and to be respected as one of the greatest lyricists of all time, getting props from Nas, Fat Joe, DJ Premier, you name it across the board, everybody knows about Pun.
Yeah. If you respect lyrics, you have to keep him in the conversation.
You got to mention
You
Big
have to
Pun.
keep him in the conversation.
And his son now, salute to his son, Chris Rivers. He spits.
Yeah.
He's either as good or going to be super great.
Yeah. Yeah, that man has skills. So if you haven't check out his music, check it out. Like, give it a listen.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
So I'm gonna leave it right there. Man, I really wish Pun was still alive, though. If Pun was still alive, and we can say that about Pac, we can say about Biggie. I really wish Pun was still alive, man, because it was too soon. It was really too soon, because then the whole Latin movement bubbled off after that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine
reggaeton, Latin rap, all these things, and then to now, you see what Fat Joe was doing. Fat Joe has always been consistent. Don't get it confused with Fat Joe. Fat Joe is dope.
Yeah.
Aside
But
from all the
even-
stupid
even-
beef
even
that he had
at
with
that,
50
though,
Cent and all that stuff.
Even
no.
with that though, Fat Joe ain't Big Pun though.
No. But
But that doesn't again. I've said it many times.
not a bad
That's
thing.
not. I'm not dissing Fat Joe by saying that.
no.
I bring up the example. Just because you say Scotty ain't Magic or Michael, that don't mean Scotty was weak.
Yeah, they needed each other.
Exactly.
They worked together, and when they're
And they did beautiful work together, bro.
when they're together, that's the craziness about it. When those two collide, not again like you said, not one overshadows the other or is to diss the other one, but by actually having both of you in one space and being brothers and making work, it's like boom, it's mind blowing. Just like the whole comparison with Michael Jordan and Pippen.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
When they're together, when they're scoring together, when they're on the same team, the greatest team of all time.
yeah, people forget Jordan didn't win a championship until Scotty got there.
Man.
Scotty didn't win a championship when Jordan left. Drop mic.
Hey,
That's all that need to be
drop
said.
mic.
That's all that need to be said. So.
What more can I say about this album, man, and that time?
But I say people give it a shot if you haven't listened to it. All these albums you should give a listen to.
Yeah, and that's when I, like we mentioned before, where when you listen to an album, when you listen to a certain artist, it kind of connects the dots in hip hop. You start listening to this person, you move on to this person because it's connected to that last album that you just listened to, or they
You
were
heard a nice
featured on the
verse,
track.
yeah.
They were featured on a track and they had a nice verse, and you go straight to that artist. So I love how that actually united East Coast rap for me in general. So that was actually during a time where I was all about the South. Like again, I was all about Master P. Anything that was No Limit, that's all I cared about. And then the local Bay Area scene with 40, Too Short, Spice One, you name it, Rapping Forte. But when I started listening to Pun, that brought me to the attention of the Beatnuts, Terror Squad, Tony Touch, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, M.O.P.,
See, mine was
Gangstar. So like Nas, like all this stuff just kind of I
was-
accepted the East Coast. I was always on a West Coast hype or a South hype, but that was kind of like the first album where it kind of it spread like a plague, man. My knowledge, my I would say my eagerness to grab another East Coast album came from the Big Pun album, Capital Punishment.
See, mine was the opposite. Like, you know how you said yours started from that direction to, like you said, Mobb Deep, all that. Mine started from the opposite direction. It started with Wu-Tang, Nas, Onyx,
Oh, Onyx.
Mobb Deep, and then from them into Fat Joe, Big Pun, Big L,
Ooh, DITC.
of course Biggie, and then that gravitated me towards the West Coast, well, the South, and then the West Coast. Like I went across the country in the opposite direction. Like, so like that's how that worked for me, and that's crazy. But before we wrap up with Big Pun, I do want to ask you, how does that album, from the time you first heard it till now, how does it feel? Like, do you feel like it got better over time to you, or I feel like it's just as good as it was then as it is now?
The one thing I do miss as a young hip hop head is that I was excited and also super highly impressed. Like when I was younger, I was all about lyrics and I was like, ooh, like that feeling.
Yeah. When you hear it and you just...
So I would say during that time when it was brand new and I was younger, I was more excited and it hit me harder. Every line and every bar, metaphor, quote, it hit me harder. I can still listen to that same album, which is why I consider it a classic. If you can still listen to it 10 years later and so forth,
Yeah, it's a classic.
you can listen to it from the beginning intro to a skit all the way to the end, that's an album that I can still consider a classic because I can still do that to this day. I can play the album back to back. Like if I played it fully and played it over again, it would not annoy me. It would not annoy me. I would appreciate it even more if I heard it the second time. So it's one of those albums. So me listening to it now, I still got the same love for it. But I would say when I was younger, it was more impactful.
But but also, I think you got to take into account the fact that it might have been more impactful because it was new.
Yeah.
Also, like
yeah.
all those things are valid as well.
Yeah.
But also the added fact that it's just new.
Nothing's ever going to be the same when you first hear it. Like,
Yeah.
We already can drop the mic on that one. Like it's not going to be ever the same.
Just that fact of not knowing
Yeah.
and then knowing.
But I love to answer your question even better is that I can listen to it now and still get that same feeling or at least get that nostalgic feeling about taking me back. It doesn't sound like anything today, and that's why I love it.
It sounds better.
Yeah, it sounds way better. Yes.
So
Preach.
that's a good album. That's a good album to include here, and I appreciate you because I'm gonna be real. I wouldn't like when we came up with the list that didn't come to my mind, but once you said it, like I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. I was like, okay, yeah, okay,
Let's do it.
yeah. I was like, yeah, I get that. That makes
Yeah.
sense. It's not like where I was like, okay, well, that's gonna be on your list. All right, well, that's your list. Like, no, but that was,
My list is my list.
exactly. But I definitely agree. I think that was a good pick, and I'm glad you put that on there because
All right.
it made me go back and I was like, damn, this shit is that good. I forgot. So the second album on my list.
Try to match that. I dare you to try to match that Big Pun album, Capital Punishment. It kills any album right now.
Okay, the album I pick is a banger. It's a classic.
I can see it on your iPad.
Exactly. And if you looked at my Twitter today and Instagram, you know what this album is. I didn't say that I was doing a podcast tonight. So when you listen to this, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that day. Black on Both Sides, the infamous, I won't say infamous, the famous, Mos Def.
Most that I need to clap for that one.
Or actually, a round of applause, thank you. Which he goes by Yasin Bey. So I'm gonna respect the man. If that's, like, I'm not gonna be your boy from Coming to America. His mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. No, I'm gonna call him Yasin Bey. So I'm gonna respect the man on that. But at the time he was called Mos Def, and his album was called Black on Both Sides.
He's
the
forever
album
Mos
that
Def to me. I'm never gonna call him by his new name. No disrespect, but I'm always gonna call him Mos
So he
Def.
gonna be that guy from Coming to America. He said he
You're
came out
Mos
Mos
Def
Def.
ever.
He gonna be Mos Def. I'm gonna call him Mos Def.
You can't change that name, man.
Yeah, that name is dope though. I wouldn't have changed it either.
Ruckus
But-
Records, man.
Exactly. Those of you don't know,
Take it back to that time. man.
Black
Go ahead.
Star, Talib Kweli, Mos Def.
High Tech.
Whoo, high tech on the beats.
Oh man.
But this album came out in '99, so it's been a minute, but it still goes in. So let me start. Like, we gonna surpass the ones we already know. We already know is the bangers, the single Miss Fat Booty, excuse
Miss
me,
Fat Booty.
which everybody
And she
once it
came
comes
with some
on.
Kentucky.
Yeah, once it comes on, everybody, no matter where you at, what party you at, everybody starts singing along and just swaying because it got that vibe. So we know that one. But one of my favorites, I gotta get to this track off top. I have to. Umi Says,
Oh, Miss Says on the line of new world.
like,
My voice is good. Quit hating.
I was just gonna be silent on that. Ooh,
Powerful song. Let me just
I'm
say.
sorry, I had to just do it ooh real quick because Equipment I came on, so I just hit me again. That's why it was on my list. But yeah, Umi Says, like, the drums,
Powerful song.
nigga.
It's a full live orchestra, man, on that track. And produced by the man himself, Mos Def. He put that song together, so you can hear the keyboards, the bass, the drums, cymbals, everything that's put together in that song, man. And I still use that song to uplift me.
Exactly, because it gets you in a good. That's why if you saw that was my evening song, like that gets me right. Like it just like you said, it uplifts your spirit. You just feel good, like you just feel like light, like you just
Commercials used it. Remember, wasn't there a Jordan
Yep.
commercial? Oh man,
because it just has that feeling, and it just like you said, the fact that he did all the production, that he the instrumentation and the way that is layered shows musicality and musicality, as well as the ability to understand the layers of songs, as well as the way that he rides over the beat. It doesn't inhibit the beat at all. He rides over the beat perfectly. So it's just a good feel, man. It's a good feeling song. It's a song that, like I said, I can go to anytime. It's on my list, but you can go from hip hop on the album to Do It Now featuring Busta Rhymes. You know what I'm saying? To Know That with Talib Kweli.
yeah.
To Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
To Mr. Nigga with Q-Tip.
Q-Tip,
Mathematic, and then May to
Mathematics.
December that it ends
DJ
off with.
Premier.
And then it even like, and this album, like it says, Black on Both Sides, it expands so many different sounds because you got tracks that have a more somewhat R&B kind of feel, a more deep hip hop kind of feel, a more soulful hip hop kind of feel, a more bombastic kind of hip hop feel, and then you got rock and roll, which fucking sounds like it says rock and roll shit.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying, like it shows his diversity. And it shows that he's a real artist, a true artist,
Intelligent.
too. Yeah. And as you can tell, the man is very conscious, a very conscious person by what he's done just in his life outside of the
general.
music. You know what I'm saying? That whole Guantanamo Bay the feeding tube video, like he's a beast just to show how like that shocked me, like that changed my view. Like really, I didn't care about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds fucked up, but I didn't really pay it that much attention. I was like, I notice it, but it is what it is. I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm trying to make it shit. And then when I saw that video by him, I was like, that's what they doing? Like, cause you actually can visualize it versus just hear it.
Yeah.
And I was like, then when he put the picture to it, I was like, oh hell no. Like that's when I became like emotionally affected. I was like, yeah, they got to do something about that shit.
Yeah, he brought it
If
to
that's
light.
what they doing, then hell no. I agree with this. Like no, stop that. Like, so I just want to give him props on that. But again, back to the album. It's a great album, man. It's like I said, it got a little bit of something for everything. And shit, Umi Says alone is enough for me to love it. And then, like I said, we all know about the single Miss Fat Booty. Like, if that's not
Classic.
if that's not a classic, I don't know. I don't know what is. So let's go to your third one.
You want to match that?
Your third one.
I just want to say one thing too before we end on that note.
Okay.
When I listen to albums like Black on Both Sides by Mos Def, and then along with the other albums that we were talking about, plus everything that came out in the same time, same era, it makes me mad. It makes me sad that we don't have albums like that anymore. Or you know what? I might just say it's just tougher to find. It's tougher to filter out through the BS that we have out there. But I would just say, like, every time I hear one of those albums, I can say, like, damn, we're never going to get that album again.
Yeah.
So I'm actually stuck in a time capsule still listening to this album right here. Not saying that's not a, bad thing, but I'm just saying is that when you listen to these albums, you're like, man, this was a really good time and we can't get it back. So luckily, I just say luckily and thankfully, we have artists like themselves making projects like this that last forever.
Exactly, that are timeless, in essence. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. So I appreciate artists that are doing the same thing. Instead of focusing on the now, focusing more on the art of work itself and focusing on making it classic.
And making a good album. Making a good album that will last the test of time, that will hold up because you're focusing on putting out great quality music and not just trying to make money, trying to get record sales. It's about and I think that's what resonates with all these albums is that you can feel the heart and the soul in it regardless of the type of production. Because you can tell that they really like that this was really on their spirits that they had to get out.
That's what it is, man. It was straight spirit and emotion
exactly
that created these bodies of work.
And that they executed it well, and it turned out
no
exactly
like no outside bullshit, no other elements. It was straight raw, organic, feel good music.
This
soul,
is what I gotta give.
Spirit. This is what I gotta do for my life and to record it.
Exactly. And I want to share it with the world and I'm glad that they did.
Amen.
Because it gives us, like we said about Umi Says and about Big Punisher and Outkast, you know what I'm saying, and Master P, like all those albums we named so far, like they give us that feeling when we hear it. And like we said, we've listened to those albums multiple of times, so that's given us more than a handful of times of those emotions. Like, how grateful can you be for that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not a lot of things in life that can continuously give you repeated positive emotions. So the things that do give you that, you should cherish.
Amen.
And so
Preach.
let's move to your third album.
My third album, man.
Wrapping it up. Third album out.
I'm gonna take it to the white side of me, the white boy hip hop head inside of me, because I got a lot of different sides of me when it comes to this music stuff.
Yo, he's showing that diversity, man.
I'm really diverse when it comes to this music, so I'm gonna go with
And we love
Atmosphere.
that. That's good.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go with Atmosphere. I'm a big Atmosphere fan. Got a picture with Atmosphere. Finally met Atmosphere a while ago, like about.
Oh shit.
I think it's pretty close to.
Stunting.
It's actually it's already been 10 years.
Oh,
It's
damn.
been 10 years since the last time I met them. Atmosphere, meaning Slug the MC and Ant the producer. Ant is one of the best producers I've ever listened to whenever I've ever heard. So salute to Ant. Look Ant up. One half of Atmosphere. He's a awesome producer. So
Check him out if you haven't already.
the reason why I chose Atmosphere and the album I'm choosing right now would be God Loves Ugly. God Loves Ugly and just overall Atmosphere as a whole is known to make music which is a little bit moodier, but more, I would say, female bashing. And when I say female bashing, it's kind of like it's that female that you want to call a bitch. And I don't mean that as disrespect, but there's females out there that are just straight bitches, right? They're the ones that do you wrong.
Like Wale said.
The ones that lie to you, the ones that cheat on you, the ones that your mom doesn't like, whatever it may be. Like that's what Atmosphere, what I took from this time in this era, portrayed to me, because he's known for it. He's known to make tracks on every album about a female or his ex baby mama.
Like, hold on one second. Like Wale said, if you call a bitch, a real bitch gonna respect you.
Let them know. So just let them know.
Because apparently that line sounds like it agrees with Atmosphere on some tracks.
I had to say that, man. And then to portray it back to my life at that time, man, in high school, I was going through some female drama, man. And I would have not made it out through the darkness, through all the drama, without Atmosphere in my life. I gotta say that. Like I gotta put that.
You got
on
out your
record.
frustration.
I
so
gotta
that
put
you
that on
didn't
record.
You have to.
I gotta
have to
put
get
that on.
it.
I gotta put that on a podcast, man. Atmosphere got me through some tough times, and also, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to females, I learned a lot from just listening to his albums and his lyrics and everything that he spits. Please go check out Atmosphere. If you don't know anything about Atmosphere, go check out Atmosphere. Go check out Slug. So poetic, so profound, in your face raps about hip hop, that battle life, that struggle life, the bad weather life, the good weather life, traveling, everything that you can think of in hip hop that you can talk about, they've talked about it. But to go back a little bit, I was going through some drama, and again, Atmosphere got me through it, man. Like, it got me through the toughest times. And nowadays, I have that kind of cold shoulder, or also not a chip on my shoulder, but I got that tough love in me. I got that tough love in me when it comes to that relationship thing, and also it opens up your eyes too. It's a sound of music and type of artist that opens up your eyes to the evils in life, the constant battle between good and evil. You get that. You understand that you're smarter when it comes to that insight. You have that insight, and nothing can phase you. And that's what I got from that album.
Oh, wow.
Nothing can just phase me. Like, you can't tell me shit. I'm not impressed by you. I don't care about your female. I don't care about that female over there in the club holding up the bottles, looking good. I don't care for her. But at the same time, you know, I live in my own space.
Like J. Cole,
You know what I'm saying?
love
And
yourself. Like
love
that track.
yourself.
Like, don't nobody got a better life than you. You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
appreciate the life you
I
have,
don't-
and that's good enough.
I have no need to compare myself. A lot of different feelings when you're growing up and you're in high school. You kind of gather that up, man. And I thank this body of work. Tracks like God Loves Ugly, Love Life, Shrapnel. The list goes on. Powerful songs about battling raps, females again, you know, life struggles. Go get that album, and go get the whole. I have the whole catalog. I have Atmosphere's whole catalog, but that one album that kind of hit me hard in life and resonates with me is God Loves Ugly, for sure.
Okay.
Yep, classic.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never heard of Atmosphere. That just, but
You're no
That's-
longer my friend.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding. I'm gonna put you on Atmosphere. You're gonna love Atmosphere.
No, I already
for sure.
I put it. I put it on my phone, so I'm gonna check it out because,
Yeah.
like I said, music is music. If you like, you like. You don't, you don't. It is what it is. But I want to be open to it. So I listen to music all the time.
And,
As if you follow my Twitter and Tumblr. I mean, not Tumblr. Facebook and Instagram. Like, I'm listening to music all the time. So, like, I'm always up to checking new stuff out.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the white boy side of me. That's the white boy hip hop. So that also opened up, you know, Atmosphere's from Minnesota.
Okay, the home of Prince.
Yeah,
Keep shout out.
and
Check
that,
the Prince
in one
podcast.
of his songs, he's talking about Minnesota. He goes, he mentions in the line, Prince lives here. We got 10,000 lakes, something like that. So that's all. That's
Yeah,
all he
yeah.
knows, and that's all that's really out there. Which is comparing Minnesota, you know, that area.
How'd you
Midwest.
find out about Atmosphere?
I found out about Atmosphere in high school, just hanging around with some just straight hip hop heads of my, you know,
Oh, okay,
in class.
gotcha.
Other white dudes.
That's how I found out about cannabis. Is the
in
hip hop
Canada-
heads
yeah, same
in
time.
high school?
Yeah, yeah.
Just,
It was
just
just
talking, and I was like, oh shit.
that
Check them out.
also led me into that whole kind of Midwest, middle ground kind of realm when it comes to hip hop, and also Boston rappers. So groups like Jedi Mind Tricks, 7L and Esoteric, I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of. Who else is out there? Cage, Sage Francis, Anticon, LP.
Oh,
So like that, just
LP, that's my nigga, bro.
all that whole kind of that weirdo rapper, white boy rapper, that era, that time, 1996, 1997, 98, 99, so forth.
LP and Killer Mike, if y'all
Yeah.
don't know, Run the Jewels. That's a
So
1 and 2. I love them both.
man, I love
Both
that
of
era,
those
man.
are
I love that.
albums. But
Try to match that. Take that.
okay, so Atmosphere. You know where I'm going, bro.
I'm surprised you didn't say like Diddy or something. You look like a Diddy kind of guy. Like No Way Out.
Don't disrespect me. Bro.
He's the best rapper alive.
Don't disrespect me. No, Dylan is. I'll tell you the 5 greatest rappers alive. Dylan, and Dylan. Shout out to Dave Chappelle out there if y'all don't know. But no, my third album is It Was Written by Nas. Just because like when I first heard this album, like lyrically, I was like the use of words, and like you brought up when we were talking about in preparation for this album about how when we got that album, in the album cover it had the lyrics. So like not only because I was already doing that prior to listening to prior to that album, is just I would always listen and sometimes write down the lyrics, you know what I mean, or just in essence memorize them. But in this album, it was written out already for you, as the title says. It was written like so that he's showing you that he focuses on the words and the wordplay and the meaning behind those words. It really struck a chord, and it felt like at the time I was kind of in a poor situation, so I felt like he understood my life and like living in the hood, living in the ghetto, like living and seeing certain things and seeing how it went, and understanding that at a such young age, you know what I mean? But it also, like I said, like the albums that tend to resonate with me are the ones that show the struggle, but also provide hope. And this album also provided hope. Like, of course, you know the single that came out, if I Rule the World, with Lauryn Hill, like just the fact that like that the title alone, If I Rule the World, like it made it a possibility. It made you feel like it was a possibility that you could, and that things would get better, and that it'll eventually change, and all this. And not saying that things haven't changed, but it gave you exactly. Just imagine that it gave you that put you in a world where like you're like, this world would be fucking awesome.
If Nas was ruler, if Nas was president.
In my Aziz Ansari voice, this shit would be fucking awesome. Like, so, if you don't know from Parks and Rec, but anyway, like that just it really resonated with me. And then of course, Street Dreams. Come on, man, that's a classic in itself.
Street dreams are made of these.
Who am I to disagree?
Man.
But anyways. And then Nas Is Coming, Affirmative Action, the setup,
Nas Is Coming.
The story and the setup alone, again, emphasized and highlighted Nas's storytelling abilities. And as you know, if you listen to podcasts before, like that's something that I think hold to a high value.
I want to say that's one of like the most illest tracks ever made. The song that he's talking about, he's actually a bullet. He's a bullet inside of a gun, and all the things that the gun sees.
Exactly. Like that to be that innovative, that introspective, that
Premier on the beat.
That's what can you say? And the fact that you can provide that level of concentration and imagination to provide a detailed story, and to choose that perspective as well, to be like, because if you think about it, the bullet is an unintended murderer. The bullet has no choice in murdering or where it's fired or what, you know what I'm saying? So it's an inanimate object that has no decisions, but he brings you in a story where you feel you have emotions for an inanimate object.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You gain emotion for something that doesn't have emotion or any type of life to it.
Exactly. That's to me that's art and skill. Like, so yeah. I think
what's your favorite song on this album? Out of all the songs, 'cause this album is pretty intense, and I want to add something to it too. But
to be honest, it would have to be. Dang, man, you're trying to make me pick. It has to be. To be honest, probably. I give you Power of the Setup, just because of the feel that it gave me.
I have two.
What's yours?
The Message. I want to say Affirmative Action. You got AZ on it.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
You got Cormega.
Yep.
You got Foxy Brown, The Firm. That song, that beat, when it comes
Yeah,
in, when
Nas,
it just-
AZ, Foxy Brown, Cormiega, Jungle. That's who I was thinking.
Man.
I couldn't think of his name.
that's his
yeah.
brother.
I just couldn't think of his name for my. I had a fucking brain fart.
That song is so powerful, man. Like lyrically, it's just like crazy. And I just want to say that I've never, I discovered Nas backwards, and so this album and also I Am were the two first albums that I heard from Nas. I didn't have Illmatic first. I actually had Illmatic like last. Like I had Illmatic way late.
Oh, I heard it. I got him in order.
And we all know Illmatic is a classic, so we got to kind of like retire it.
That's
now,
why I
but
said I started from that side. So I got them in order, and like I said,
I was asked backwards.
and I just want to branch off of that real quick. Is like you said, how it brought you to other people. Like it brought me to AZ, and I was like, damn, AZ's a beast too. Like, why isn't he blowing up like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then it brought me to also Cormiega. Then it brought me to Foxy Brown. Well, I already knew somewhat about Foxy Brown, but and
The Firm.
Foxy Brown, if y'all don't know, that girl,
She's one of my, I would say, top 5 MCs, female MCs.
so dope. So dope. Shout out to Foxy Brown, man. So because we've been on here for a minute, but let's just wrap this up real quick.
Yeah.
Quickly go through your 3. I'll go through my 3, and then we'll tie things up.
My 3 in chronological order. We'll start off with Master P with Ghetto D, Ghetto Dope. Came out in 1997. Then 1998 followed up by Big Pun, Capital Punishment album. And then third but not least, it is the Atmosphere. Sorry. Atmosphere, God Loves Ugly.
All right. So for me, I'm gonna just go in the order I said it in. Outkast, Aquemini, and then you got Mos Def, Black on Both Sides, and then finally, which is actually the one that came first in chronological order, but it was written by Nas, a classic. So I want to say thank you, Will, for bringing me Atmosphere. So I'm gonna definitely check him out, and I suggest everybody check him out. And reminding me about Big Pun, like I said, it made sense. And Master P, that made sense too. But I wouldn't have thought about that one either. So I do definitely appreciate that. I want to say thank you to everybody out there for rocking with another podcast, Stay Woke Podcast, presented by thesonicbreakdown.com. This is your boy D-Ray Brinson signing out. And you know the motto: live, listen to some great music, and above all, love more, man.